Hey, beautiful. Guess who's back? I'm so excited to be back with another Tuesday tarot reading and what feels like a really long time. We're going to go back to pick a card readings. And so, this pick a card reading is all about your self care practices. What can you be doing right now to improve your self care, to increase your self care, and you know how we do on this channel, to fill your cup, fill your spiritual cup, your emotional cup, your psychological cup, and even maybe your physical health cup as well. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna do 3 different readings, 3 different groups. Remember that you can watch all 3, you can pick 1, you can pick 2, you can watch them all at once or come back over time and choose other readings. It's totally up to you. I am going to be using the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck for all 3 groups. I'm going to take some time in the beginning to shuffle out all the cards, and then we'll go into each different group and give you time to select which one you're feeling or resonating with the most, okay? I'm also going to be using a new tarot deck, the Manzel Tarot deck. We have this lovely High Priestess on the bottom right now. And I'm going to be using my trusty Frida Kahlo clarifying deck as necessary. Also, the High Priestess at the bottom right now. So this is a great time to start. I'm recording this on the Gemini new moon. It'll be coming out next week, the week of my birthday. Yes, June 6th. So exciting times ahead, you all. Again, I'm so appreciative to people who are returning, who have been patient with me during the break. I did submit my full manuscript to my editor in May, and so I have time before she gives me feedback to do revising and editing. So I'm going to jump back in and let's get started. So you can watch me shuffle for the different groups, or you can just go right into the pick a card section, listen to what stack might be resonating with you the most, and then click on the timestamp for your group that you've chosen. Okay, so this will be the Oracle cards. We're going to start with group 1. We're going to get 1 Oracle card for group 1. 1 Oracle message from the African Goddess Rising deck for group 1. Group 1 Oracle message, please, for self-care. How group 1 can best fulfill their spiritual cups. Okay. Now the tarot for group 1. Group 1 tarot. Self-care. How group 1 can best fulfill their spiritual, emotional, physical cups. 1. Okay, so we have the cards all stacked for group 1. I'm going to use the Frida Kahlo just as a clarifier. So I've seen some of the cards that fell over face up, but I haven't looked at all of them. So we're going to go into group 2 now. A card for group 2. Self-care, how they can best fulfill their spiritual cup at this particular time in their life through a particular situation. Let's try that again. Group 2. Self-care message for group 2, please. I think that one wants to come out. Nope. Okay. Okay, there we go. Group 2. 4 cards, group 2. Self-care message for group 2, please. group 3. Group 3 has 2 oracle cards. And get your tarot for group 3. Self-care message for group 3. And how they can best fill their cups this time. Okay, group 3, your message seems to be quite clear, but I'll dive deeper when we get to your section. Okay, so now that all the cards have been pulled, again, once I get into the readings, I'll pull clarifiers if necessary. Now I'm going to take a picture of this, put it on the screen. You decide which element or which group, which pile is calling to you the most. There'll be 1, 2, and 3, and I'll also do one of my stones to help to clarify and focus the energies. Okay, so if you chose group 1 with the rose quartz pendant, then the oracle card you got is a really amazing one. It is Cosmic Power. Cosmic Power, Mau Lisa. This is the cosmic power of the sun and the moon specifically. And this is about eclipse energy. So right off the bat, you want to consider the eclipses that are happening this year and just eclipse cycles in general. This is also about the balance of masculine and feminine energy. And so 2 things in a very practical way, just from the oracle cards, is balancing masculine and feminine energy, realizing that you as a human incarnating in this body at this lifetime, you have masculine and feminine power, masculine and feminine energy and flow inside of you. And so it's about recognizing that, acknowledging that, celebrating that, harnessing both of those energies as necessary and when it's appropriate. So there could be an imbalance right now, just in terms of your need for self-care and filling your cup. Maybe you're too much in feminine energy. Maybe there's toxic femininity going on. Maybe you're too much in your masculine energy. Maybe there's some toxic masculinity going on. And so you want to temper. I'm also getting the energy of temperance, needing to, again, just balance and measure out, dole out that ebb and flow of masculine and feminine energy, very yin yang energy. Okay. I'm also getting light and dark, shadow and light. Again, bringing these things into harmony, right? The moon and the sun are not enemies. They're not mutually exclusive. These energies do work together. And you could also be heavily influenced by lunar cycles at this time as well. Again, especially around eclipse time, depending on when you watch this. Now, the first tarot card that shows itself, we have the 4 of Pentacles, the 7 of Pentacles. I'm also getting the body heavily with these Pentacles energies, fatigue, tension, tightness, gripping, holding on. So you want to engage in practices that allow you to release energy. That could be even be constipation and just tiredness. And maybe the tiredness, the fatigue is coming from pent up energy. It could be actual constipation, but it could also just be energetic constipation. I'm also getting the 3 of Swords and the 8 of Swords. Immediately what's jumping out to me are the numbers. So we have the 4, and the 7, the 3, and the 8. So we have one number separating the smaller number in the suit and the higher number in the suit. So we have a smaller number in the pentacles and a higher number in the pentacles. We have a smaller number in the swords and a higher number in the swords, and there is 1 degree of separation. I don't know if that's exactly clear, but if it's for you, if that means something, then you will catch it. And if it's not making sense at all, then that just means it's not a confirmation for you in this reading. Now this is the self-care. I'm also getting therapy. So this is a lot about the mindset, the mentality, your thoughts. Some of you could be holding on to old heartbreaks, and that could be creating that constipated energy. So if it's energetic constipation, and again, our physical bodies manifest spiritual, energetic things, right? So no surprises there. If you're the kind of person who's drawn to that channel, that's not news to you, right? That's something that's going on emotionally or spiritually could manifest in physical symptoms, right? And so there's a clinging to or difficulty letting go of past heartbreaks. And I'm also getting that for some of you, it could be a way of thinking that keeps you tethered to painful narratives, that keeps you tied to or held back by either past heartbreak or stories of loss and grief, narratives of pain that you may or may not have experienced. For some of you, you actually experienced these things, and for others of you, there's a narrative that you're telling yourself about these things. You'll know. But either way, it is stifling you right now, and again, I'm strongly getting that it's showing up in physical symptoms. Also keep in mind that when we talk about constipation and fatigue, the digestive system is masculine energy, right? And so if you are struggling with your masculine energy in any kind of way, that could impact like your elimination system, right? And just that whole, not only when you eat it all the way to when you release it through your body, that could be impacting that. Also, the 3 of Swords could be discomfort. And so if it's physical discomfort, again, think about what you can release in terms of rituals of release, emotional release, psychological release, and partnering that and pairing that with forms of physical release, right? And then with the cosmic power, again, that balance, what's coming through now is that you are putting restraints on your sense of power, right? This 8 of Swords in particular is a particularly disempowered energy. And again, it's creating stuckness, mental and physical stuckness, mental spiraling, mental ruminations, as well as like even gas, perhaps. Even physically, the way this card is presented, right? There's the pentacle. It's like sitting on his lap, right? There could be like bloating. You could be carrying excess like water weight. So many things are coming through that 4 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Pentacles definitely giving tiredness. And this could be something that has been going on for a while, because the 7 of Pentacles in terms of timeline and time frame is something that we've been working on or toiling at for a long time. And so with this heartbreak, this 8 of Swords, again, I'm getting this has already happened. There's no prediction of like a future heartbreak coming here. This is all like pain and trauma, discomfort, sadness, limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, or like self-talk from negative self-talk from other people that you internalize and that has become your self-talk, right? All of that has built up and has not had an outlet for healthy release. And so that like constipated energy, both physically and energetically, is what's causing or creating that sense of fatigue, right? So let's get some clarifiers. I want to clarify mostly the 3 of Swords and the 8 of Swords in particular, because I think that mental shift, changing your thoughts on something, is going to help you start to release some of this blocked energy. Okay. And again, I'm getting solar plexus, sacral, and root chakras. So the lower chakras in particular, in terms of that energy being stuck, but also the upper chakra in terms of the mental thoughts, right, that are also trapped, basically. Let's look more closely at this 3 of Swords, 8 of Swords situation or energy. What else can you guide group 1 in terms of their cosmic power? Yeah, so I just want to emphasize the message that for if you chose group 1 and it's resonating, so just because you chose it it still may not be your message. I just want to say that about pick a card readings. Your imbalance of masculine energy, and I'm really getting like a depleted or an underutilized masculine energy, or like being afraid of your masculine energy, or like holding back, restricting your masculine energy, having a negative attitude about masculine energy, is creating this physical blockage. It's blocking maybe your elimination system, also like creating fatigue within you, and just an overall energetic blockage. Okay. 3 of Swords, 8 of Swords. We got the 3 of Swords again. Ace of Swords wanted to peek through. And the Devil. High Priestess. 10 of Pentacles. So for some of you, this part of what might help is speaking the truth of what you're holding on to. So if you've been holding on to something in secret, that also is creating this energetic block, this energetic and also physical constipation. So, and I think that's going back to that therapy, like being able to talk to a therapist, because you don't necessarily have to share this with anyone in your life. You don't have to share this with anyone you know, but you do maybe even in a journal, like writing it out, right? Like expressing it with words, communicating it in some way and acknowledging it. Like that's a huge part of the release for you in terms of self-care. Being able to fill your cup is getting out of that mentally stuck energy by expressing it, right? That's a form of release. That's a form of release, like cathartic, being cathartic about it, like telling that story in a safe environment with good, healthy boundaries, right? So that could start to release the energy. That could start to unclog, unblock this flow of energy, particularly in your masculine side or your masculine flow. Because if you have suffered this heartache and this pain, or if you've just been suffering and struggling with something in silence, that has contributed to the stuckness and the blockages and that sense of, just being clogged in some way. Okay, and with the 10 of Pentacles, this speaks to legacy. So this could be family related, like family traumas that you have experienced that have accrued and built up and become like a really solid thing, right? And so starting to talk about it and starting to speak the truth about it, like the shining the truth on the thing for yourself first, admitting the truth of these things for yourself first, and communicating that either in group therapy or support groups of various types, grief counseling, so many things. And this devil energy does suggest that it's, and I say this with love, but the devil energy can become, it's when we start to cling to the pain, when that sense of pain and trauma and seeing ourselves in this way, we become attached to that identity, right? And so that could have started to happen for some people, is that you have started to become overly attached, even overly dependent, overly reliant on this particular narrative of sadness or heartbreak or pain. And I'm saying narrative not because it didn't happen, right? Like, again, for some of you, this absolutely was an event, was a situation, or a series of events that really did happen to you. And so again, acknowledging that, not trying to suppress it, not trying to bury it, acknowledging it, saying it, communicating it, again, in therapy or in a grief counseling group or something like that, is how you start to unclog and unblock that energy. But the narrative piece, and why I keep using that, again, because of this 8 of Swords, 3 of Swords, is because yes, it happened to you, but it's like you've become attached to this narrative that because this happened to you, everything going forward has to be or can't be what you want it to be, right? And so that's the narrative piece. It's not a narrative about what happened. It's you're now attached to the narrative about what that means for you in terms of your ability to live your life, to be comfortable in your body, to show up authentically, to receive love, to give love, to flourish, and thrive, right? Like, that's the piece that you have to release, right? And so acknowledging, going through the grief and the healing of like whatever painful experiences you've had in the past, but changing the narrative that because those things happened, you necessarily are doomed to a life of misery, right? Like, that's the narrative piece that has to shift for you, okay? I hope this made sense. I hope this resonated. Again, my intention is always that these messages are sent in love. And I think there's, again, just a strong reminder of your cosmic power. And so don't let past traumas or past hurts lead you or cause you to deny your power or suppress your power. For some of you, what's coming through now is that you were punished because you were powerful. And so you have a trauma response as you limit your power because it's what kept you safe in the past. And some of you, like, we talk about past lives for witches, like being a witch in a past life or being a magician or a high priestess in a past life, where you experience persecution, punishment, violence, and even maybe death because you were so powerful and people wanted to clamp down that power and were threatened by that power. But even aside from past lives, in your current life, someone might have seen your power even as a young child and tried to take that power away from you in very violent, vicious, malicious ways. And so you internalized the idea that, oh, my power makes me unsafe. My power makes me a target. And so that's a big part of what's healing here for you in group 1. Okay. Much love, my dears. If this is where we part ways, I hope to see you in another video, or feel free to stick around for another group that we're reading for. Okay. If you chose group 2, that is the group with the clear quartz seashell. I love this pendant so much, the clear quartz seashell. This is group 2. We're going to start off with your oracle card, which is storms. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And storms, number 13, breaking down to a 4, which is interesting because 4 is usually the card of stability. But storms, being the tower, is really a disruption energy. It's an energy of wiping the slate clean. It's very much like the tower in that things get washed away, things get deconstructed, and sometimes in a very maybe surprising way, but also in a way that feels disruptive, okay? When you think about a storm, think about hurricanes, tornadoes, things like that, right? Like, they can be pretty intense, but it is ultimately a card of change. So for you, with this oracle message starting out, I haven't looked at the tarot cards yet. One way to practice self-care and exercise self-care and to go about filling your cup in this particular season or situation or chapter in your life, whenever you find this video, is to allow change to change you. Allow changing situations to change your life, and not approach life with the energy of resistance. not approach life with the energy of being overly rigid or being inflexible. This storm energy is asking you to create radical change if necessary. What needs to be wiped out? What slate needs to be totally cleaned? Where do you need to throw out the trash? Where do you need to do some demolition in your own life, right? So this is often energy that comes about when we have been resisting change for too long. Something is long overdue for change. And the storm comes in and says, you know what? We tried to let you do it on your own terms and in your own timing. And it's getting to a point now where there's a need for divine intervention to help usher in a much needed, long overdue change. And so again, towards the idea of self-care, filling your cup, is embracing change for you. Like that's going to be a big part of, and maybe you're going through a season of storms right now. Maybe you're needing to think about how to care for yourself in this season of massive, unexpected, unplanned, unintended change that seems fated, that seems to be coming from external forces, is to embrace that, is to say, I'm ready. I am excited even about what new potential is on the horizon once the clouds clear, once the rain stops, once the flood waters recede, right? There's massive change going on in your life, and you have likely been resisting it. And so the message coming through for you now is to no longer resist and to embrace, to open, to allow yourself to be like the willow tree that bends with the wind instead of trying to force the sameness or clinging to the old way, the old thing, the old relationship. Let it change and let it change you. Okay, now the tarot cards that we have, the Seven of Cups. So this is the chaos that ensues with the storm, right? And so it might be uncomfortable to now have things in flux. Things are very much in flux, but the beauty of the Seven of Cups is that you have options, you have opportunity, there's potential in the air. You see that? He's looking up at the clouds. This is literally the card of there being a lot of potential in the air. It's like the season coming through is one of possibilities. And then we have the Six of Cups. And usually the Six of Cups is a very positive energy, but I get that this is holding you back. This is the energy of nostalgia. And so because you loved the past so much, because there was something, even if it wasn't perfect, no past is, you are really focused on what you loved about the past, and it's getting in the way of you being able to embrace the change going forward into the future. And so one thing, it's an emotional shift, but also like a mindset shift, reframing your sense of emotions is being able to celebrate the past for what it was, allowing yourself to grieve it, and just hold on to the memory. That memory is never lost. Like that energy of what the past fed you, how it nurtured you, the roots that will support you into the future will always be there. But now it's time with this storm energy to start looking at new horizons, to start looking at other possibilities, what other emotional truth is possible for you. And for some of you, you realize that the past was good, but you haven't really allowed yourself to imagine that the future could be even better, right? And so maybe your past was so good that it's hard for you to imagine that anything could be better, that anything could be more powerful, more aligned, right? More high vibrational, more prosperous, more abundant. And so you're needing to allow yourself to imagine, right? Like after all this change happens, after this period of radical rebirth and things shifting, things ending, things being torn apart, things being put back together, reconfigured, what are the possibilities that lie ahead? And the cups are really about emotions. And so there's, in terms of like the practicality of this, the logistics of this, I'm not seeing a lot of actual struggle, right? So for you, it's an emotional struggle. It's like you're actually doing fine, just in terms of the lived logistical reality. Even despite there being radical change, even despite there being storms, Like your life is secure. There's security in terms of you being able to survive this in a practical way. But there's a lot of emotional upheaval. There's a lot of emotional adjustments. You having to open up to a new emotional experience, new emotional vistas. And with the 6 and the 7, we automatically have an Ace of Cups as well. The Ace of Cups, 6 plus 1 is 7, is that new emotional experience, that new emotional truth, that new emotional reality. So you're stepping into a new emotional baseline. You're going to have a new emotional baseline. And that again, I'm getting that it's hard for you to imagine that because you were so comfortable and content with the past. And you might not have thought you needed a new emotional baseline, right? Like it's almost like the storm is calling you to dream bigger, to think bigger for yourself, right? And all of this is centered around this idea of the storm. It's a blessing. This change is a blessing. We also have the 10 of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. These feel paired or partnered. So there's a truth. What is coming in the moment is that there is a truth or a decision about where you're living, about your home, your legacy, or your money. So there is something changing in the practical sense. But again, I'm not getting like catastrophe. So this could be a promotion at work that prompts a move across the country or to a different country. I'm not getting foreign travel here. I'm going to clarify. But there's like a new contract. This could even be a marriage, to be honest, or a divorce. Either way, this is a change in the long-term structure and foundation of your life. Maybe you're becoming a grandparent. Maybe you're becoming a parent. So many things could be happening, especially with the 6 of Cups. This definitely could represent children. But the Ace of Swords, you have the power of choice. And with the 7 of Cups, if you allow yourself to appreciate the past, grieve the fact that the past is changing, but then allow yourself to feel emotionally. You want to feel emotionally into the vision, the truth of the next big chapter for you. This is like achieving a certain level in life, work, family, career, health, and realizing that it's time to expand. Right? It's time for an expansion. It's time to open up a new location. It's time to add on to the house. It's time to expand the family by having children or grandchildren or getting married or moving in with someone, right? All of that is creating like practical life changes. And the only challenge you're facing is your emotional response to these things. And so for you, it's really important for you to fill your emotional cup at this time. And you can fill your emotional cup at this time by, again, allowing yourself to be nostalgic and look back at the past and say, wow, that was really great. And imagine how much greater the future could be, right? Or imagine new vistas and new emotional experiences that I'm now going to get to have by embracing this period of change. Okay, let's clarify this Ace of Swords, because this feels like the future, the victorious future, the catalyst, right? And so for some of you, it's this contract, this choice, this communication that triggers this storm, this massive change in your life. But others of you, the change is coming into this 10 of Pentacles energy, where you have everything you need, everything you could want. And for some of you, like the 10 of Pentacles, you had it. Like you had your life well established. You had the full family, the beautiful home, the perfect job. You had the estate, the retirement. And something happened to change all of this, right? With the Ace of Swords, though, it's likely you had some choice in the matter. And I am getting contracts. I keep coming back to the idea of a contract with this Ten of Pentacles and Ace of Swords. So that could be a contract for a job, marriage, partnership, business, a new lease or mortgage, right, on a home. Tell me about this Ace of Swords with the Ten of Pentacles, please. There's a lot to appreciate about what has already existed. And there's a need, a call to open up and embrace and allow yourself the freedom and permission to step into the new and the next. Because it's going to be abundant and prosperous and beautiful for you. But because maybe what you already had was so comfortable for you, you're like, oh man, I gotta change. What can you tell us about this Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Swords? Four of Swords with the Nine of Cups. This is something you want. This is a wish fulfillment. And with the Nine versus the Nine of Cups versus the Ten of Pentacles, this could definitely be expanding your family, like being brought into the fold here. And you look at the cards, you have 3 generations, and you have pets, and you have the physical foundations. The Four of Swords says that this is something you've reflected on, you've slept on it, you've thought about it. There is a disappointment though, because the Ace and the Four implies a Three of Swords. So something has had to be lost or sacrificed or given up, but you find peace about it, right? Like you're able to pray and you know it's the right choice, even if it's a difficult choice. So I feel good about that with you. Seeing this Four of Swords here is that you acknowledge like, it sucks that I have to move away from my best friends and all this life I've known and this life I've created. But when I allow myself to think about the beauty that lies ahead, the love, the abundance that lies ahead, the sacrifice is worth it. And again, old friends, old family, like the good times, the things that nurtured you and made you who you are, you never lose those things, even if your external world and life is changing. And also with the Nine of Cups at the bottom, to the 7, we have the Two of Cups, and to the 6, we have the Three of Cups. So this is definitely about relationships. And so again, for some of you, if this is resonating, this is about changes in relationships specifically that are more solid, stable, long-term, and just more aligned. Okay? That is what I have for you. Group 2, you can stay and watch the next reading as well. If not, I hope to see you in another video. Take care and much love. Okay, group 3, if you chose group 3, which was the Moonstone Pendant group. I really love this Moonstone. It's a very feminine stone. It kind of, fits the color scheme as well. Group 3, you got 2 oracle cards. You had the most oracle cards and the least tarot cards, okay? You had 3 tarot cards, actually, which is appropriate for group 3. But we're going to start with your 2 oracle cards from the African Goddess Rising deck. We have Rage, which is the card I saw when I did my initial shuffling, but the card that I'm just seeing for the first time is Miracles. Miracles. Oh, I love it. Now, immediately, what's coming through with the miracles is that allowing yourself to believe in miracles in terms of your self-care, how to fill your emotional cup. Allow yourself to believe that change is possible, that things will get better, can get better, that miracles can happen, that you are magical, that the universe is magical, believing in the magic of life, believing in the magic of yourself, of God, the cosmos, your spirit guides, guardian angels, believing in miracles. Rage, though. It's very, very direct, straightforward message in terms of self-care. Allowing yourself to feel and express your anger, your rage, your sacred rage. There could be something going on in your life, or maybe just an ongoing condition or situation that makes you angry. And you might have been trying to suppress it, telling yourself you can't say that you're angry, that you're bad for feeling angry. Maybe some of you feel guilty that you even feel angry in the first place. But anger, rage can be healthy, and it is often our first indication. It's often an early indication that a boundary has been crossed, that there's some exploitation or injustice going on. Okay, and I think justice was one of the cards that fell out. So let's get to your tarot. Yes, justice. So I'm going to be very direct. This is a pretty straightforward message here with the rage and justice and miracles, is that there's a situation that makes you angry and rageful. It can absolutely change. You do not have to be stuck in this environment, this situation, this relationship, this work dynamic forever or for our ongoing. Like, there can be divine intervention that helps you put an end to this situation that makes you angry, that creates this righteous rage for you. And justice tells me that your self-care is standing up for yourself. Your self-care is saying, no, I am going to fight for what's right. And I don't mean fight as in work yourself up in a tizzy. I mean you being able to pull out the receipts and say, no, I have the receipt. I'm still within the 14-day window to return this broken item. I know that's a very basic example. For some of you, it might be much more serious. There might be a lot more gravity to it than that. But there's something but I also get that for some of you, it's not just like one big incident that's creating this this rage or this anger, but it's like all these little microaggressions, all these little moments of people disrespecting you, all these little moments of, being pushed aside or looked over, and you finally saying, like, no, I deserve to be treated with respect. I deserve to have my voice heard, right? You're not going to keep talking over me in the meeting, right? I'm going to say that. You're not going to exploit me and always assign me to the overnight shift when none of my other coworkers have ever been asked to take on that burden, right? This is about making the decision to stand up for yourself. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is also about perseverance and hard work. And part of what makes you so angry is that you have been dependable. You have been reliable. You have put in the work. And so for someone to try to take ownership of the work you put in, for someone to try to say you didn't do that work, you have every reason to be upset about that, right? But the question is, what are you going to do in light of that? The Knight of Pentacles, the Lovers, and Justice. Very, very clearly what came through when I was shuffling is picking a path and sticking to it for the long haul. Choosing a course of action and seeing it all the way through to completion. So keep in mind, I'm looking at the candle here, I just had a little flicker of confirmation. Keep in mind that if this is a legal battle, if you're going to go to court, you have to be prepared to see it all the way through. Whatever you choose. And with the Justice and the Lovers, this is an aligned choice. This is a choice that's made in alignment with your authentic, high vibrational understanding, knowing, and wisdom. So I'm not concerned about you doing this from a petty, low vibrational place. I'm not worried about you trying to scam or get over on anyone. Like, you're showing up with the Knight of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Justice. You are in the right. And I'm not just saying that because you're my viewer and you're part of this community and I'm reading for you and I love you. It's because it's what the cards are actually showing. Okay? You are in your integrity. And that's, again, what is so upsetting. It's righteous rage because someone else is out of their integrity. Because someone else sees your integrity and tries to exploit it. Someone else sees your integrity and tries to whatever it is that's making you angry. And you might not even feel angry, but you make the choice to do what's right. You could be fighting on behalf of someone else too. I'm also getting that. It's like if there's a group dynamic, you might decide to take the lead to bring justice to the entire family. You might decide to take the lead to bring justice to your entire neighborhood, right? This could be a communal thing, right? Where they're opening up a landfill, or they're closing the only grocery store in town. And so you start a boycott, you start a petition to say, like, no, we don't want this to happen in our neighborhood. We don't want this to happen at our school. We don't want this to happen in our family. We don't want this to happen in our country. And so you're ready to stand up, and you're ready to do the long work, the long battle, be committed to like policy changes, voter registrations, canvassing, block walking, whatever it's going to take to see this justice come about, whether it's in the small moments in your everyday personal life, whether it's in a larger social scale, fighting on behalf of an entire community. You're making a committed choice, or you're being asked to make that committed choice for yourself. And think about what you're doing it for, right? Tap into your why here, and you can allow that sacred rage, that righteous anger to fuel you for the long term. I often say you also want to do things from a place of love, but for you in this season, maybe to get started or to recommit to something, there could be a reminder, right, that breaks you out of a lull. So maybe you had been on this journey already. Maybe you were already in the process of looking for justice or trying to right a wrong. And maybe it's been so long that you kind of wonder if it's worth continuing. And this is saying, when you think about how unjust it is, how unfair it is, how exploitative it is, how disrespectful it is, how inhumane it is, that reminds you, like, oh, this is why I made the choice in the first place, and this is why I'm going to stick to that decision. Let's clarify. I think that's a pretty straightforward reading. It's so crystal clear. The miracles, though, I'm going to clarify this miracles card, because I'm sensing that there is going to be divine intervention that makes this journey not as long as you originally anticipated, right? It's like maybe you were planning to be in court for 5 years, and there's a divine intervention. There's a miracle that happens, and the case is settled, much sooner than you thought. Ooh. My other candle is doing something interesting. Also, my candle is purple. Let me see what colors are standing out in this particular deck. There's definitely some justice coming about. So let's clarify miracles. And then I'll clarify justice specifically. The Lovers is making the aligned choice, and Justice is committing to it in a very formal, official way and being pot committed. Ace of Swords, bottom of the deck. Six of Pentacles. This again could be contracts, shared resources. Please tell us more about miracles here. That was fast. Yeah, the Six of Pentacles. Help comes in. Miraculous help. Miraculous help comes in. Assistance, divine assistance. Divine assistance just on its own, but it could also be divine assistance through a particular person. And to be honest, maybe you are the miracle for someone else. I got goosebumps when I said that. I'm not even gonna lie. You making your choice, making your moves, you being in your integrity, you feeling that sacred rage and acting on it could be a miracle for someone else. And that's why when I was saying maybe you're fighting on behalf of other people. And this is not a savior complex thing. This is about the people saving the people, right? Not you saving the people, but you being among the people. You rally the people to remember their power, and, you know, there's a miracle there. Now, for others of you, this is someone else coming in for you, coming in to support you, coming into, maybe you were denied a loan because of bias, and someone sees that and they're like, that's unfair, that's unjust. I'm not only going to lend you the money you asked, but I'm also going to add on a $10,000 grant that you don't have to pay back, right? This is divine assistance all day, every day. And again, divine assistance often comes through the vessels of other humans or other situations, other dynamics. And we have the Ten of Wands beneath that, which is the release of a burden, the release of a burden. Trusting. There's a deep need to trust and maintain the faith that you have chosen the right path. Some of you might be doubting. Some of you in group 3 might be doubting whether or not you made the right choice. You might start to question, right, as things continue to get hard, or if you're not seeing progress, results, you might doubt that it was worth the fight to begin with. The Ten of Wands, though, says a long struggle is approaching its end, is soon over, or is already wrapping up at some point. Okay, let's look at justice just really quickly, since we have a little extra time for this group. Anything else you can tell us about justice in this scenario? The Queen of Pentacles. This is very informative. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I'm happy to tell you that this long struggle is quickly coming to an end. You have 2 tens, which automatically means change. But specifically, change with the Ten of Wands means the end of a burden, a long cycle. The Wheel of Fortune is not only a changing of a cycle, and like change is also fated change. So going back to that divine intervention here. And this is interesting because the message is very clear to me. It's not really giving fill your cup self-care type stuff. In terms of the self-care piece and what you can do is respect your sense of anger, respect your righteous anger, express your rage, let it fuel your commitment and your dedication to this cause, whether it's your own cause or the cause of a community or group or society. And as you persist in your dedication to this, divine intervention steps in, fate steps in, God steps in, the universe steps in with support, with help, with change. And with the Wheel of Fortune and the Ten of Wands, this could be a sudden release, right? It could be a sudden thing. Now, the person who came out is the Queen of Pentacles. So there could be an earth sign woman who is supporting this in some way, right? Because it came out with justice. So that's what I have for you, group 3. I'm very happy for you and excited for you that you're going to get relief and change soon, whatever this burden has been. You can go back and watch the other readings. And if not, if this is where we part, I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Much love.